In today's episode, we're going to look at this very unusual UK brochure for Ford imported cars. Cars from other countries you could purchase in the UK. Hello, welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel. The channel looks at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 1990s. A very niche subject, I know, but if you're interested in these sorts of niche YouTube programs, then please do consider subscribing. It is completely free. So Fridays, which is when this video was first released, we always look at a Ford. We call it Ford Friday. Today is no exception. Apart from this is a very unusual brochure. Imagine you're in the Ford dealership. This is from 77, in 1977, 78 maybe. And the Ford cars in the UK aren't really what you're looking for. You're looking for something a bit different. Well, this brochure would have been for you. Pick a different Ford from a different country and have it imported to the UK and backed by Ford of UK. An interesting idea. I never saw many Fords from different countries. I must admit, in the 70s, it would have been a rare, and you would have had to be a little bit of a different person, a different thinking, but it could be done. Let's have a look at the brochure. So here it is. Ford imported cars, the key to a different world. This is some kind of like sticker that must have been on at one time. I don't know what that's referring to. But if I flip the brochure the other way around, it gives you a little bit of an idea of the idea behind these Ford imported cars. So I'll just read this first and I'll show you the date as well. But it says, Ford imported cars are marketed by Ford Personal Import Exports Limited, a subsidiary of the Ford Motor Company Limited. Ford Personal Import Exports have a network of specialist imported car dealers throughout the country, whose staff and technicians are experts in the maintenance and servicing of all Ford imported models. So you couldn't really walk in your Ford dealer and get one of these. They were actually specialised car dealers. And interesting there, it says, there's technicians who've been trained on servicing these cars, because obviously it would have been very much different to what the UK cars were. It also tells us they also maintain a large and comprehensive stock of spare parts at their international parts depot just outside of London, and have direct links with the manufacturing countries. When you own a Ford imported car, you get the same high standard of servicing and part supply that you would expect with any Ford product. So it takes away that worry of importing a car yourself and then, oops, there are no parts here for that car. You only have to look at like hub nut and the Ford that is imported from the Australia, and then, you're struggling to get bits for it. But here, when there was these Ford cars, you could get something completely different what everyone else had, but it was still backed by Ford. An interesting idea. It goes on to tell us this catalogue applies only to vehicles supplied for the UK domestic market. Ask your Ford imported car dealer for further information if you should wish to purchase one of these vehicles for export. And there you go. It goes on the usual brochure spiel, we can change things at any time, etc, etc. Down the bottom here, this is where your dealer stamp would have been for the dealer where you could get these imported cars. Shame that that dealership stamp isn't there actually. And down the bottom here, proof that this is for the UK, I guess. The London address there. And also, more importantly, the date. So this particular brochure is February 1977. So that starts your mind thinking, what are the cars outside of the UK that you could have brought these cars in? So obviously we're not thinking about Europe, we're thinking about further afield. So America and Australia is where these cars are coming from. So there are a few different cars here from Australia and the US that you can bring into the UK. It's going to take too long to do the full brochure in one fell swoop, so we'll just do it a car at a time. So the first car that you could consider bringing into the UK was the Ford Mustang II. So an interesting idea, your Ford Capri wasn't enough, you didn't want a Ford Capri like everyone else was getting. Maybe you wanted a larger engine than what the Capri was. Well, you could import a Mustang, although not the most desirable model of Mustang, it has to be said, but certainly it would have looked very different on the UK roads. So we'll read the text, then we'll work around these lovely images, and then I think there's also some specifications down the end here as well. So here it is then, the legendary Ford Mustang. A unique combination of sophistication and sheer motoring excitement. The Mustang gives you driving that is as calm and controlled as it is powerfully distinctive. Very bizarre little... Who wrote that? That's terrible. Anyway, moving on. So the Mustang II Ghia, with its smooth 4.9 litre V8 engine. That was quite a choice, wasn't it, for UK roads? So you'd have to go, well, the Capri, I don't want a Capri. I wouldn't be happy with a 3 litre V6. I want a Mustang with a 4.9 V8. That's quite the choice. And obviously, UK fuel prices were and are still a lot more than they were in the US. So that would certainly drink the fuel and wouldn't really have been the perfect car. I think I would have been happier with a Capri 3 litre, but I applaud the people that did this choice, to be a little bit different for sure. He goes on to say, its powerful steering and brakes, its thick, sound-absorbing cut-panel carpeting, the Mustang Ghia creates a driving environment that sets you apart from the world. Unmistakable Ghia styling features, a half-vinyl roof, Ghia badges, and opera windows for rear passengers. And here it is, quite striking, obviously very American. I'm not sure I was ever a huge fan of this particular generation of Mustang, but some interesting features on there. We can also see that it's got a UK plate. So this is, or probably more likely, just pretending to be a UK registered one. We've got these unusual sort of lights hanging off the bumper as a bit of an afterthought. I presume they're aftermarket indicators. And obviously they would have to make these to UK specification, of course. Now, OHV11R, unsurprisingly, comes with absolutely nothing when I look in the DVLA database to check that registration plate. It looks like it's been put over another plate though, doesn't it, on there? It doesn't look like it matches the actual picture, which is not really that surprising, is it? Do like the wheels on these, I must admit, but overall it's just a little bit too American, I think. So that half vinyl roof at the back there, it wouldn't appeal really to the majority of UK buyers, I would say, although I'm sure it would have been nice to listen to that 4.9 litre V8 engine. Some of the other images, we can see those big seats and of course the engine itself. And then you can see the V8 badge there and those interesting wheels. And then the rather nice feature of still being able to fold that back seat down, although that spare wheel is not exactly hidden, is it, usually. The text goes on to tell us the features of the Mustang Ghia combine elegance with versatility. The tireless V8 engine unit gives you relaxed, controlled, long-distance motoring, while your passengers are accommodated in style in the individually contoured rear seats. Alternatively, by folding the rear seats forward, you have extra load space for your luggage, with fitted carpeting extending all the way from the boot section. Forged aluminium sports wheels are fitted as standard specification. So there you go, you get those wheels as standard. No idea how much this would have been in the UK as a comparison with a 3 litre Ghia, sadly. or a 3 litre Capri really is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, there were alternatives. You could get something a little bit more special in the Mustang II Mach I. The Mustang Mach I Fastback incorporates a folding rear seat with a lift-up tailgate giving access to 22.8 cubic feet of load space. Mach 1's styling features black lower body panels and colour-keyed remote-controlled door mirrors and sporty forged aluminium road wheels. The car that really stands out from the crowd. And here it is. I do like it from the rear more. I do prefer it in this sort of like lift back style. It does look a lot nicer. Very much reminds me of a Datsun 280Z from the back there, although I prefer the front of the 280Z. So overall, I think the 280Z is a far more attractive car. The 280Z probably copied this, but yeah, that's what my first thoughts were of the rear. And then the rest of the car, it actually looks nicer again with this sort of like two colour on there as well. I'm not a huge fan of the Ghia version. Moving down, there is the front end. Now the other one was OHV 11R, this is OHV 12R. Again, it looks like a made up plate. If you look on DVLA, it comes up with a green Morris, so I don't think this number plate is or ever has been really relevant to this car, or maybe it was transferred over to a Morris, I'm not sure, but I kind of feel these are made up plates. So that then takes us to the specifications for these two models. So the Ghia and Mach 1 models standard features. So interesting one, the first one up, they do come as right-hand drives. Interesting, I don't know where along the process they were converted or they came out of the factory as right-hand drives. I've really no idea, but I'm sure a 70s Mustang in right-hand drive got to be a rare car today. Also get a tachometer, fuel anometer and temperature gauges, centre console, day-night driving mirror, interval wipers, warning lights for oil pressure, safety belts, handbrake door ajar and headlamps on, glove box lights, fold down rear seat, heated rear window, vanity mirrors, head restraints, digital clock, opera windows on the Ghia only, inertia reel seat belts, matching twin remote control sports door mirrors, Mach 1 only, half vinyl roof, Ghia only, tinted glass, bumper guards, solid state ignition, colour keyed urethane bumpers, engine compartment light, four forged aluminium sports wheels, as in your spare will be a steel one, I would imagine. 195/70R by 13 steel belted radial tyres, quartz halogen headlamps, hazard warning flashes, and then the Ghia optional equipment available at extra cost, glamour paint, whatever that is, sounds horrendous, manual steel sunroof, removable tinted glass sunroof, cloth trim, red, aqua or green, or cream, sorry, velour cloth trim in aqua, chamois or cream, in-car entertainment, refer to your imported car dealer, and then on the Mach 1 you can have optional equipment again of that glamour paint, cloth trim, red, aqua or cream, in-car entertainment, refer to your imported car dealer. And then the specifications. And that's the specification for both the Ghia and the Mach 1. So auto transmission with T-bar floor mounted shift. So sadly no manual option, which would have been preferable for the UK market. Steering, power assisted, rack and pinion with transfer gear. Safety steering column with anti-theft lock. 34-foot turning circle. Brakes, hydraulic dual line vacuum servo assisted. Self-adjusting front disc brakes and rear drums. Suspension, independent short long arms with ball joints and coil springs. Rear semi-elliptical leaf springs. Looks like they're both coming with the same engine, the 4.9 litre V8. Carburetor, twin choke. And then the measurements between the Ghia and the Mach 1. I'm not going to go through it all, but interesting point there that the Mach 1 is slightly lower than the Ghia. I guess a bit more of a lowered suspension, I would imagine. And then the small print is just telling you to refer to the import car dealer for the trim colour combinations. So they've got an interesting choice there in 77 to have an officially imported right-hand drive Mustang II. I would definitely prefer the fastback version. I think that looks a lot better, but personally I think I would have just gone for a 3-litre Capri or even a Datsun 280Z, to be honest with you. But it's all about the engine. I guess it's certainly an interesting engine and would be nice just to listen to that engine for sure, but no idea what the prices of these would be, but certainly you would have to be a little bit different to be even considering bringing one of these to the UK with the high fuel prices. But let's just turn the camera around a moment. However you look at it, it's an interesting brochure, isn't it? And interesting that these cars existed to be officially imported into the UK. 70s, I never saw any of these cars in this brochure. Talking about cars in this brochure, next week we're looking at a pick from Australia that you could bring over. And an interesting one. And would have looked huge on UK roads. But thank you so much for watching. We'll end as we always do by saying, please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. You won't be charged to be a subscriber. Tell me your views on the Mustang II and importing these. Would have you chosen to do such a thing, or would you have chosen something a little bit easier to get hold of? But thank you so much for watching today. Very much appreciated. Remember to return next week for the rest of this story, but we do have episodes on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so surely a car for you will appear. And we've got over 800 episodes now. You can also become a member now for a very small fee. Have a look at the homepage for that. But thank you so much for watching today. Please do take care. We'll see you again very soon. All the best and goodbye.